Hi everyone, now we'll be looking at chapter 5. We have already gone through chapter 5. We'll be going through the answers after this. Just to recap a little bit, the basic concept about trial balance is that you have to follow allies. If you can't follow allies and you cannot classify each account properly into proper classification or type, then probably you're going to screw up. So we know assets are debit. So the green items belong to a balance sheet, and the red one are income statement items. So what does that mean is that we are going to have the balance carried down for these items. We are going to have balance carried down for these items, but we are going to close these accounts at the end of the period. Okay, that's what it means, but we'll be going through that concept again in chapter 7. Okay, so don't worry about that. So the basic the concept you should really know is that you are going to debit the assets, credit the liability, credit the income, credit the capital, debit the expense, and debit the drawings. So another thing you should make sure is you classify each account properly, as I said earlier. So if the customer owe you $50, that's going to be a trade receivable, but if you owe someone, then that's going to be a trade payable. And if you classify this one as a trade payable, then it's going to be a liability, right? If you classify wrong, let's say mistakenly, right? And then your trial balance is going to be wrong. So you have to make sure you classify this one as an asset and you classify this one as a liability. So you have to be very careful in that section. Okay, so classification of each item is very important. So let's look at the answers of chapter 5. So here they're asking us to prepare the trial balance, and we have these accounts they have given us, and we are just supposed to prepare a trial balance. Okay, and balance each account. How do we balance each account is that we total it up, and then we will have a balance carried down on this side, the total amount. Okay, why we will be having total amount on this side is because there is no transaction in this case. So if you total this one and this one, you should be getting this one. Okay, you should be getting this figure. You should be getting this figure. So 14,500 plus this one, you should be getting this figure. So balance carried down is going to be 15,200 on this side, and total it up both sides, equalize both sides. On this side also it's going to be the same. So total up this amount and this amount and minus with this one, then the balance is going to be here. Okay, and then total up both sides. So equalize both sides, and then the balance is going to be this side. That's going to be balance carried down. Okay, so the balance carried down will be here. Okay, how do we get the balance carried down? This plus this minus this. Okay, our bank account also we will have a balance carried down on this side. We should be having, because it's supposed to be debit, right? So the balance should be when we have the balance brought down. So if we have the balance carried down on this side, balance brought down is going to be this side. So we are looking at the balance brought down. Okay, so the balance brought down should be on debit side. Why? Because it's an asset. Okay, so again cash also balance carried down will be on this side. This plus this minus this, and then you should have my apology, this plus this minus this minus this minus this, you should have this. Okay, and then this one is only one entry, so I know my balance carried down is going to be this side, and how much it's going to be same amount, because there is no transaction on debit side. There is no transaction on debit side, that's why my balance carried down is going to be same. Here also same, I will have balance carried down on this side, it's a liability. On here I will have income statement, not balance carried down. Why? Because purchase in an income statement item, sales is an income statement item. So here also I will have income statement item, and I will close the accounts. Total of this one, equalize to this one, and then the amount will be here. Income statement here also. Okay, and then drawings will have balance carried down, because it's a balance sheet item. As I said earlier, follow this thing. So that's the concept. You should be getting this one. I hope you got it right. I believe I did this question in the class. So then we have similar type of question in question 2 also. Here also we are supposed to do the same thing. This plus this one, you should be getting this amount. Okay. and do all this for the transaction. Just make sure your total is this one and go through transaction one by one whether the total is correct or wrong. Okay, there is a possibility your total matches, but there is one transaction wrong, so there might be a mistake. Just go through it carefully. Then we have question 3 again. In this is way easier than this question, because in this question you just have to debit, classify it whether it's debit or credit. So I know advertising is an expense, so it's debit. Bank loan is a liability, so it's credit. Capital is credit. Cash at bank is an asset. Drawing is drawings, so debit. General expense is an expense. Purchase is an expense. Sales is an income. Trade payable is a liability. Trade receivable is an asset, and vehicle is an asset. Okay, I'm just going through this question very quickly because I have gone through this question before. Okay, so your total should be this one. Question 4 is also similar. Your total should be this one, and this one should be your entries. Just go through one by one, check whether each of them are correct or wrong. Then we have question 5. Question 5 is asking us to correct so this is incorrect trial balance. We have to correct it. For example, here bank overdraft is on debit side, so we should put it on credit side. Why? Because it is a liability. We put it on credit side because it's a liability. So here you should be getting this one, and your total should be this one. Okay. Then we have question 6. Question 6 total is 24,280. Okay, so here the first entry itself is wrong. Okay, this one should be credit. Capital should be credit. Cash at bank correct. Vehicle correct. Furnitures asset, this is asset, so should be on debit side. Okay. General expense is an expense, so should be on debit side. Loan interest is an expense, should be on debit side. Loan, okay, should be on credit side. Okay, loan should be on credit side. Why? Because it is a liability. Purchase is an expense, okay, correct. Rent is an expense, correct. Sale is an income, so credit, correct. Trade payable is liability, and trade receivable is asset. We have question 7. So record transaction and check the double entry of the trial balance. So on 1st April we are given the transaction, and now we are supposed to add these transactions. So this is going to be my balance, opening balance. Okay, so if you see, I have vehicle for 14,800, so that's going to be my balance. I open my equipment account, so this is going to be my balance. I open my trade receivable account, so this is going to be my balance. Okay, so you open all these accounts. So assets will have the balance on debit side. Assets will have a balance on debit side. Capital will have a balance on credit side. Why this one is like this? Okay, I hope that's better now. So my capital will have a credit side. Liability will also have on my balance on credit side. Okay. Now we are supposed to add these transactions. So let's say I have purchased goods for resale. I have purchased goods for resale on credit. So I did not pay cash. I will pay them later. So my transaction is going to be, I debit my purchase account and I credit my trade payable. Okay, this is going to be my transaction. How do I post it in the T account? I post it like this. I go into my purchase account. I have to open the purchase account. So this is my purchase account on 1st April. If you see the date, this is 1st April. I open my T account. I put in the amount and I buy the goods on credit. and I go into my trade payable account and I post the same transaction here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Cash sales totaled 1000. So cash, I receive cash, I debit cash, and I credit my sales. Okay, for this one. So I go into my sales, I credit my sales, and I debit my cash here. Okay, then I have the owner Vizong withdrew cash 200 for private use. So what I'm going to have, I debit drawings and I credit cash, right? Yes, cash. So the owner take out cash, I credit cash, the cash reduced from the business, and the owner will get cash 200. Okay, paid rent by check. So when you pay rent is an expense, so rent we debit and our money decrease when we pay rent. It's paid by check, right? So bank. Okay, so I open my rent account, I debit and I credit my bank. Okay, now I have purchased some additional equipment and paid by check. Additional equipment, so I purchased some additional equipment. Equipment is going to be debit and credit is going to be check, right? Bank. So I pay money. When I pay money by bank, my money reduce, so I credit. Okay, I credit. And my equipment, I think I already have, yes, I already have an equipment account, so my equipment will increase. So debit mean increase asset, right? Because it's an asset, so increase. Our next one is paid cash into the bank account. That means your bank balance will increase and you put the cash into bank. So you are putting the cash into the bank account. You're putting the cash into the bank account. So you credit your cash and put it into the bank account. So your bank balance will increase and your cash will decrease. So let's say if you have $100 or 100 ringgit, you take that 100 ringgit and put it into your bank account. So now you have no cash and your bank balance is 100. So now that means your bank balance has increased the amount by 100. In this case it's 600, but let's say I'm taking the example, and my here I have no longer, you have no longer that 100 ringgit. Okay, so your cash decrease and your bank balance increase. Where was I? Okay, here, paid wages in cash. So when you pay wages, so credit is going to be cash, but here it's going to be wages. Okay, you pay, when you pay someone, your cash decrease and your wages increase. Okay, so you pay wages 500. Okay, and then I have received a check from a trade receivable. When you receive a check, you are receiving money in the bank account, so your bank balance increases and your trade receivable balance decreases. He no longer owe you, so you credit him and you debit your bank account. So you debit your bank account and you, where is my trade receivable? This one. Okay, you credit your trade receivable. Then you have again he withdrew a check for private use. When you withdraw a check for private use, what happen is you debit drawings. I told you always debit drawings and credit bank. Check, right? Yes, bank. So drawings again and drawings here. Okay, paid trade payable by check. When you pay something, you credit your bank account and you pay trade payable, so trade payable will be debit. Okay, so here my trade payable is debit and my bank balance is credit. Okay, and then sales on credit, I have sales on credit. So I debit my trade receivable and I credit my sales. So sales is credit and debit my trade receivable. I think it's on top here. Okay. Cash sales. So again sales credit, but this time I receive directly cash. Okay. So when I receive cash, I debit my bank cash account and I credit my sales account. Last one is paid wages. Last one is paid wages. So when you pay wages in cash, you debit wages and your cash reduces, right? So your cash reduce, you credit your cash and you debit your wages here. Okay. So this was question 7. Let's move on to question 8. Okay. So I hope you understand the concept here clearly, and now you can prepare the trial balance. And if you did this one correctly, you shouldn't have any problem preparing the trial balance. Okay. So let's move on to question 8. So question 8 is also kind of similar. So we are going to take, first of all, take all the assets. Okay. Take all the asset and open the account for equipment, fitting, trade receivable, bank and cash, and we will have the debit balance. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay. Then we take these accounts, capital, bank loan, and no liability, because no amount here. Liability is just a title, so you cannot have the name. So here also asset will have no account because it's just a title. Excuse me. Okay, so you are going to do the same thing. Capital, credit, all the liabilities will be credit. So go through these transactions and post them into the relevant account. So debit and credit. Paid wages in cash, so debit wages, credit cash. Purchase goods for resale, so purchase debit and credit bank. Okay. Post it in the T account and check, reconcile here whether they are correct or wrong, and you should be getting this balance. Okay. So try, take it as a challenge and finish it.